On page Tuf Resh, that's a mem, I think. It's interesting he writes it like that. At any rate, we're on the number bet on this page. Let me get this in perspective. There we go. A little bit. Okay, number bet. He said, "Bir nosef klalos there anpin hainu heim harosh behin hashesh kitzvais." Now, what's the subject? I'm sorry, my mind is just getting back into my head. Tesha ashkin ashakin lagufa. There are 9 that water the body. The question is what's the 9? What's the body? Bir noisa the klolos zer anpin. Though we're talking about zer anpin in general. Hainu heim harosh behin sheish kitzvais. So he says that gets you 9. Zera v'nikra ginsa. And I guess he means the 6 kitzvos are called the garden. Rei Bahadras Melech over there, he said, this is the language we use. Bedillah, 1 second. There we go. Hu zer anpin hanikra gufa, the ginsa the gabe Eric anpin, who's called by that, in that name, he's called the garden in relationship to Eric anpin, Kamosh, like we have of in the Idrazuta. And Amr v'Naher, so it says v'Naher, which is Bina. Bina b'yatsa me'edin comes out from Eden, which is Chochmah. So Eden is inside of the garden, so to speak. Let's see, what it should be called a river, my mistake. So me'edin me'chochmah l'hashkos as a gun in order to water the garden. Here's the garden. Here's again, the garden is there anpin do vov, which is a 6. He came zer anpin nikra gan, so he's the one that's called gan. When we say the word gan, we want to talk about this is the what would you say the intention is to bring the shefa to the gan. Lachad, that's according to one pirush. Ki harbe pirushim and b'posik zeh, because there's lots of different places, and we do have a little note on that. Is mentioned over there ad kan. Maybe we should just look at the note here real quickly and see what we can do, and then we'll come back. So the note says, Ki yesh kama pirushim bezoyer beloshin lahashkos to sagan. There's lots of places where that language is used. So nikra gan. So I think this word is aim. So im bina o zer anpin, I think that's what it means. If it's talking about bina, or it's talking about zer anpin o malchus, or it's talking about that. Ray B'Partis Rimonim, he looks over there, Mahu Nahar Yotzim Eden. So when we say that phrase, what's it referring to? He says Da Bina, because Bina is connected to Chachma, as we said above. He says Me'eden Da Bina, Pirush, B'Pasuk Zecha the Rabbo Pirushim, I'm sorry, there is a multiplicity of explanation, but RABBI, lots of different places. Ad Khan. Ein Sham, he says, look into it more. What we're saying over here is Re Gamba Bashar Kavanos. So he says, V'zel Lashana, V'nachar Yotzech V'dahaina Bina. Me'edin Dahainu Chachma. That's what we're saying over here. The Hashkos has a gan Dahainu Teferes, that is Teferes, which is Zeranpan Ad Khan. I think that's it. That was not all that much over there. So let's go over here and let's see a little bit more of this one. So back to the Gimel up above. So we said V'chein Hevi B'bira Groakan. So also we're into the Groa. He says Zer Anpin Nikra Ginza. So he says that's the Groa. As zer anpin kamosh amber bezayu the sub parshas achrei mos. So we learn like this. How who nahu ki etc. Lahashko gunginsa. So another, he's just quoting different places to try to pin this down. B'sham b'dav samachay, so over there in dav samachay amad alav behind na'arach asking im leginsa. I think it's ginsa ve'eda the ginsa. So he says Iskri, I'm sorry. Iskri Aim, it's called the Aim the Ginsa. It's called the mother of the garden. There was a question up above when it said if or if he meant aim. I wasn't really sure. I translated if up there. But V'hai Ginsa Iskri Aim, the Ginsa Aim the Ginsa, Ve'ela Beginsa, and it goes in from the Ginsa. Ein Shon. Be'idrizuta davs red resh sadi on the basis of V'hachun Nahira the Nagid V'nagid the Nagid. The Nagid V'nafik. He said the Ashke Tadir, the Ginsa. That's what it's trying to do. It's trying to constantly flow in there. Hahu Deksiv with the Nahar Natia the Ginsa Vadai Ikra Vov. So he says, I guess Natia, what is the plant itself of the garden, or what feeds the garden? I'm not sure what grows in the garden. Maybe that's it. Vadai Ikra Vov is called a Vov. Here's another little language that they're using this. So that Vov Lahashkos as a Gan. Dohu Vov. So Vov is the Gan. Ad Kan. Ein Sham v'chein b'rei b'zor Chai Kan. So over the Perish Harishon v'zel Lashon Ashkin the Gin Sechel b'shuch b'zer Anpen Katam Lahashkos as a Gan. So this particular this Perish here is going completely on that as a Gan Do Vov. The Shorish called Hashisha Kitzvahs, and this is the root of all of the 6 Kitzvahs. Let's look at another one. Let's see how far we could go here. Bir Shlishi, the Ginsa, the Haindach HaNukva. Now, that was what I would have said myself. I thought that was always the idea that, anyway, but that was my thought. Varmatesha Ashakin, the Ginsa, so that's the 6 that water the Ginsa. Ratzon Aloma, the Tesha, the Kundi Dikdach, the Bihim, the Nukva, ultimately, that's where they're going. What's he say except this second Pirush? He says Shabir Bezecha Ba'od the Dikdach the Zer Anpin Hu Bebechinas Yisod. It's the concept of a Yisod Shemashpil the Nukva, that it wants to be poured into the stream, into the Nukva, and feed her. Bezel Lashona Bedilog. This is what he said. Ve'evshir the Farish Ginsa Malchus. The Ginsa is Malchus v'Hasod. The secret on this is ki Yisod hu amashka hagan. The Yisod is really the hose that, anyway, it's what waters the garden. Bazakan v'ha'aver. So then you have these two things. There's this idea that I think we might have seen a little bit. He says the beard and the organ itself, which is the Yisod, they're actually connected. So they have to think about this, but the beard, let's say, is on the middle line also. That's what I thought. So a person who has this limb, I'm not sure exactly where he's trying to go over here, but he says that sheyesh lo aver, so a person who has a live yisod, let's say, he's going to have a beard. The misha ain lo aver, for whatever reason that means, ain lo zakan, his beard stops growing. So from there, therefore, he's supposed to say that that's a raya, that the two go together. V'lechem and Nikra Yosef Hadar. So what does that mean? Yosef is called a Hadar. Why? So I guess there was there looks like a comma, but Bezer Anpin Ela Tesha Tikunim. Zer Anpin is only 9 Tikunim. So then the Yisod then itself flows. It's a place of flow. And that's the place where the garden is watered. And he says, moving right along, where are we? Up here, way up here. So he says, which is what? The garden is Malchus. Hainu Sod Yisod the Zer Anpin, that is the secret, is really the Yisod the Zer Anpin. Ha'ochas Bedikna, which is attached somehow to the beard. Lamala Besod Hamakoras Ela, which is really the secret of the roots of I guess what flows into the Nukva. And then it flows them down below into the Nukva. The Kach Mishi Yeshlo Zakan. So a person has a beard. Enus Saris, that's a sign that the person himself is not a Saris. And it has the ability to produce seed that will give birth. Amisha Ein Lo Zakan, but let's look at a person who doesn't have a beard. Ein Lo Zera Lahashkos Hagan, there is no seed there. That seed is not, so he wants to make a tie, a very strong tie here, between the concept of what's flowing out of the beard and Yesod. It's just that they're basically all connected, and the whole point of it is to flow into the Nukva Ad Kan. So he says, he says, Vada, he says, Ki Hazer Anpin Nishba Me'erik Marich Ma'atek Mamish, so that he said what the Zer Anpin is really, Nishba is really flow, is, I guess, I would say a recipient of the flow, Me'erik Anpin, Ma'atek Mamish, so no, going all through that, that's what's coming down, that's a Zer Anpin. Aval the Nukva, Ein Shef, Nishba, Mamish, Rock, Ayidech, Sa'aras, Vachadikna, we're talking about through, well, Eric Anpin into Zera Anpin's dikna, I guess he's talking about the same idea. Account the shon of the fee Zera v'yesh the farish ginsa al nukva, and according to this, therefore, when we say ginsa or garden, we're talking about the nukva. So we have 6 minutes. Let's just see if we can read the top of where I put it. The top of here we go. All right, let me switch over to the